Alright, here's the flywheel. Another piece of aluminum, 2 inches in diameter, 3/8 of an inch thick. Put a little relief in there. Now, I didn't videotape this operation. It's pretty much straightforward stuff. A set screw that goes in there, which holds it to the shaft. And I made this recess with the rotary table on the mill, very similar to how I made the valve. So it's kind of redundant. I didn't videotape that, but there's the flywheel. Okay. Alright, I had to make 12 of these studs. It's got a 256 thread on each end, and it's kind of tedious, but instead of using drill rod, which I would have had to trim down, a 3/32 drill rod is like 0.94 or something like that. Let me check my chart. Yeah, it's like a little over 0.93, and these had to get turned down, or the diameter for a 256 is got to be 0.86. So running a tap over that, I don't think was gonna be good. I got these finishing nails here, which it wasn't my idea actually. It came from the appendix in Elmer's engine book, using a finishing nail, and a 2-inch finishing nail or a 6D finishing nail. It's about 93 thousandths in diameter, and but they're softer. So I put them in a collet and trimmed them down, and you know, with like one pass, I was able to bring them down and run a die over them and tap them. So that's a quick thing to keep in mind if you need something of like an oddball diameter. Just using a nail might bail you out. All right, getting near the end of all the parts here. Now this is the base, piece of 3/8 aluminum. Unfortunately, I did not videotape me making this. I deviated from the plan a little bit. This was supposed to be countersunk for a flathead 540 thread. I didn't have any flathead 540 screws, so what I wound up doing was just making a stud with a piece of 1/8 inch drill rod, ran a die over both ends, and just used a nut. And I just needed some clearance for the socket, and I just put a counter bore in there. But like I say, this was a pretty simple layout. Just, you know, a couple of dimensions on there. Countersink for a 632. It called for a 540. Like I said, I didn't have any 540, so I had some 632s that I just made those holes for that. So all right. Along with the base is another piece that I'm sorry I didn't videotape this. This is the support that would go here. Bring you in frame. Another piece of 3/8 aluminum. I put another bronze bushing in there and drilled a little oil hole in there, and tapped for a 632 on the bottom. So got that. And the last piece of the base is another simple piece. It's just a piece of rectangular aluminum here, 3/8 of an inch thick, and that's just a spacer. Like I say, again, I didn't videotape that. So And I think that's all the pieces that I covered. Oh, and there's this one here. This is for the vent plug, and this is a piece of brass. This has got a interesting thread on it. It's a 1/4" by 40 thread, and there's this piece of brass that I just, you know, turned down, knurled, and I might clean this up. I might maybe dome this over or something. So, all right, and one other piece here. There's a telemarketer on the phone interrupting us that I will ignore. And the little air fittings, the little air nipples here. Piece of hex brass, 3/16 brass. I put a 10/32 thread on the outside there and just freehand turned a little bulb fitting down. So that's all the pieces. This is the last of it, and I guess the next step is start putting this thing together. So, well, here we are. All the parts are done. I don't know if I'm going to get carried away polishing anything up or that kind of stuff. But I think I got most of the stuff on video. I think I lost a couple of things here and there. Yeah, I tried. That's it. Next thing is we'll get this thing together. Alright, so to hold this so it's straight out in line, I just put a spring here just to pull the connecting rod away, and so that'll make sure that this is perfectly straight in line with the center of this hub here. So I'll bring you in a little closer and we'll get soldering that. Let's see here. All right. Alright, so I got that fluxed up there, and let's get this silver soldered here. Okay, that should be good. Alright, let that cool off a minute, and we'll get it cleaned up. Alright, so I started assembling the engine, and it's a pretty tedious build. That's why I'm not videoing it. That's where I am so far. The connecting rod that is soldered onto the hub, you have to put it into the crankcase before you swedge the piston over the wrist pin. You won't be able to get it in there. The other ones, I just put the cylinders, dropped the pistons through, and got the connecting the hub pins in place. And I'm just going to bolt down the cylinder heads, and we'll proceed. Like I say, I was going to videotape it, but it's a real finicky build, and the camera's just in my way. Alright, so putting the front cover on here now. Okay, so we got oil all over everything. I need a little bit more leverage on that. So we'll put the valve on the back here and the flywheel, and ever so closer to getting done. Alright, so the engine's running on about 4 or 5 pounds of air right now. Let me crank it up to about 10. Alright, that's about 10 pounds right now.